All right, so today's piece is Music of Changes, Volume 2 or Book 2 by John Cage. And of the four books, this is actually the longest. It's 20 minutes long. Um, I have this listed in my spreadsheet as a 1960s thing, but actually all four books were written in 1951. I believe this one was just published in 61, right? So this publication is 10 years after John Cage wrote the score. This is like a monumental piano work. It's famously the first piece that John Cage wrote exclusively with chance operations. I believe he uses the I Ching in this. This is not the first use of the I Ching, though, in his output. I think that title is held by the final movement of his Concerto for Prepared Piano and Chamber Orchestra. This is Edition Peters. All four books combined it runs about 43 minutes. And yeah, this is what the score looks like. You can see there's three different pedal indications. The solid line, I'm assuming, is the sostenuto pedal. Then you have a dotted line and a mix of dotted and solid, right? Like alternating. So I'm assuming those are the unicorda pedal and the I guess you would call it the sustain pedal, the one where am I mixing up sustain and sostenuto? I think sostenuto is the I am mixing it up. Sostenuto is the one that like holds specific pitches, whereas sustain is all the hammers. You get the idea. Okay, it's like it's very intense just on the page, all the little pedalings that are going on. Yeah, so this one runs about 36 pages. You can see that it's all handwritten and it's in varying degrees of density, right? It's not, it kind of is like proportional notation almost. And that's all I got off the top of my head. Um, See what I can find online here. Yeah, I forgot to mention it was written for David Tudor. We talked about him on the channel before, oddly enough, in a Stockhausen episode. You can go to that episode if you want to know more about him. The I Ching was applied to large charts of sounds, durations, dynamics, tempos, densities, basically anything that you could control as a composer. He um, assigned it to some sort of table of values and then used the I Ching to determine, um, yeah, what was going on there. His pupil, Christian Wolff, was actually the first person to introduce him to the I Ching, and it's sort of like a divination, like sacred thing. Here, Cage is just using it as almost a little machine um, to do tasks with. Title Music of Changes is derived from the title Book of Changes, which is what people often call the I Ching. I guess Cage, so to summarize this paragraph, Cage was in conversation with his mentor, Henry Cowell, and Cowell was remarking that Cage had not truly freed himself from his personal taste in any of his pieces so far. So that is sort of what he was trying to do here with indeterminacy. Interestingly enough, I believe this was written a year before he wrote 4 minutes and 33 seconds. So this is like not an entirely different train of thought, but it's definitely like something like 4 minutes and 33 seconds is sort of like a statement about this long thread in Cage's output, which is like containers and the idea of like containing music within spans of time and proportions and how those proportions can have nothing in them, like the frames of a painting, right? that is one way of like relinquishing your taste. Um, but this is not the same thing. This is like here Cage is trying to like make as few decisions as possible as a composer, and use chance operations to do all of the composing. So sort of like automating it. Um, you can think of this as like a precursor almost to like computer music, involving random operations. Yeah, there's a lot of spin-offs to this piece, um, with using the same method of composing. So shortly thereafter, he wrote two pastorals. What's the instrumentation on this? Solo prepared piano. His seven haiku, for MC and DT, and this eventually became his music for piano series, which is a large, yeah, there's like 85 different scores in that series. Um, it's more refined than the charts that he used in the uh, player piano concerto. Here he just works with 8 by 8 cells, similar to the I Ching, this layout here, right? So he's actually organizing. He's not just using this to make decisions. He's like organizing his musical ideas according to the way that it's organized. Yeah, he's still using the nested proportions thing, which he developed in the 1940s. So that's not entirely gone at this point. And it's proportional notation, like I mentioned before, but um, the stem of the note sort of indicates the position rather than the note head, I guess. When we looked at Etudes Australes, it was the center of the note head that we were supposed to look at. Um, okay, that's fairly interesting. I'm curious to see what it sounds like. I think it's going to sound pretty randomized. Like, it's going to be kind of all over the place. But it's very detailed score. Like, it's very prescriptively notated. As for why we're looking at book two, that's the score I have. I mean, I don't know, I don't even know how I got a hold of this score, but I don't have any of the other volumes, and I'm not going to make the effort to find them. This is just the PDF I have on my laptop, and I'm going to listen to it. So if you'd like to listen along with me, recordings in the video description, and stick around. I'll let you know what I thought hearing it, and I'll try to keep the composer's like intentions and philosophies in mind. And I'm not going to critique it in any sort of absurd way. So, yeah. Okay, cool. So I found this to be a really engaging performance. The pianist was Hsien Chen. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, it's really it's there's a lot of space and resonance and like long stretches of silence, and every little sonic event is very identifiable as like a thing happening, like a point in time, uh, and it has this sort of spontaneity to it that keeps it going, keeps injecting something into the piece. Um, I really like the variety of sounds. I think it complements a lot of other stuff we've been doing on the piano series. There's always notes being held and also different pedals being applied. So there's a lot going on, and it sort of like adds to the indeterminacy. Like I feel like depending on like the millisecond that you depress the pedal, it completely changes the sound that comes out of the instrument, especially when you're doing these extreme dynamics, which also are not going to come out exact. Like there's going to be some randomness there. Um, so I think the sort of sounds and gestures that John Cage went with really emphasize his concept and idea. Um, I'm really curious what the gamut of sounds is and what that grid looked like. Um, I'm also curious what these ratios mean above the rests. Also, it goes by at a clip. Like um, yeah, these measures are very short, and this person took it slow too. Like 22 minutes. It's supposed to be 16 minutes, so that's like 6 minutes slower. Um, yeah, it's meant to be very, very fast, and it's almost mocking sort of the serial music of the time, like the total serialism that composers like Stockhausen were starting to play with. I hope this helped you listen to it yourself. I think I've tried to listen to this piece before with no context, and it's very hard. I found it much easier today, like just taking 10 minutes to get in the headspace, think about what the composer's trying to do. I think it makes a huge difference. Um, and that's all part of it. That's part of music appreciation. Sometimes it's more important than what you're able to hear, you know. You personally, what you're able to hear is not what the piece is. Yeah, next in the series will be Catalogue d'Oiseaux by Messiaen. I'm kind of erring on the not erring on the side. I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not to do them one book at a time and split it over like a bunch of episodes or just listening to it all in one day. I feel like I could kind of get away with that. It's just going to take up my whole afternoon tomorrow, but I'd rather I'd kind of rather get them out of the way. I split up his Messiaen's opera, Saint Francois d'Assise, like act by act, and that was brutal. So I don't really want to go through that again. So um, yeah, that's next.